What if they were like rocking out to freaking like new metal and shit, bro? What if that was like a thing, bro? And they were like broke and in college, bro. That'd be like crazy, bro. Like,
I want to start off by giving a huge thank you to everyone who watched and interacted with my last video. It was my first time really making anything on here and uploading it. I was really proud of it. I worked pretty hard on it, and it's just good to know that so many nice people like y'all are out there and just really matching my freak. You guys are awesome. Thank you. To catch anyone up if you didn't watch the last video, this AU is mainly going to be about the main six being college age, being super broke, and working at Pinkie Pie's parents' bakery, and them all forming a new metal band with Fluttershy being the main vocalist. With that out of the way, this ended up being a much larger project than anticipated, and I've decided to split it up into 3 different parts just to keep it easier for me to keep up with uploads. And for y'all iPad kids, I know you are not getting past the 1 minute mark. I know you're putting this on in the background and just scrolling on Instagram Reels while it plays. I know who you are. So here's how these 3 videos are gonna go. This video is gonna be a redesign of Rarity, Rainbow Dash, and Twilight. The next video is gonna be Applejack, Pinkie Pie, and Fluttershy. And the last one is going to be going through the entire story, and I'm planning on making actual comic panels to go along with the story that'll play while I'm explaining it, and I'm really excited for that. I've been having a lot of fun planning everything out, and I'm just so excited for it to have a life of its own. We're gonna just jump straight into it. First up is Rarity. I think I had the strongest vision for her out of all of the main 6, just because, you know, when it comes to fashion, it's really important with character design, at least for me. I like making characters with very intricate designs, and I feel like having Rarity be Lolita Goth, or like kind of into like the VK subgenre, really fits her, because it's kind of like, it's a very dramatic way of styling, and it borrows a lot from history to create kind of a unique look. And I think that is perfect for her, because not only does she love being the center of attention, and not only does she love being dramatic and out there, especially when it comes to fashion, she also is a fashion student in this alternate universe. I'm gonna explain to you guys like their majors and who they are. I kept pretty much everyone true to the original in terms of personality, but as for who they are, it's a little different. Rarity in this alternate universe comes from wealth. Her parents are rich, they own a business, probably want her to be the heiress of it. They want her to take it over. But she obviously wants to have her own fashion company. So she goes off to university to pursue that. And her parents want to teach her fiscal responsibility. Not necessarily because they don't want to support her or anything. They just want to be able to make sure that she has a good standing in life. So they're like, all right, we are not going to pay for like your unnecessary finances. You're gonna have to figure that out yourself. But they do pay for her schooling. So she, being a person who, you know, wears a lot of expensive clothing and stuff, she starts working at the bakery so that she can afford those clothes, and also to afford cloth to make clothes. I imagine that she probably is not getting paid more than like $15 an hour at the bakery, and like she ends up resorting to just making a lot of her own clothing. I also made it so that her and Sunset Shimmer are roommates, and they butt heads a lot because the fact that she makes her own clothing in her dorm room makes it so that it's very, very messy, and Sunset Shimmer is very organized. So they butt heads a lot, even though they aren't enemies by any means. They live together and they're trying to work it out. I originally wanted to make her a bassist, but I feel like she would have her nails done a lot and that wouldn't really work out for her. So I wanted to make her the keyboardist instead. She is also their social media manager. I can imagine that she probably learned a couple business stuff from her parents and is using that to kind of advertise their band. Them having social media is also just a good excuse for me to be able to kind of draw them taking selfies together, or having sleepovers, or in the middle of practice, without it just being an outside view of that. I feel like it'd be a lot more fun to draw it from a character's perspective. She'll probably pull out her phone every once in a while and everyone will groan and pose for the picture. Maybe not even pose, maybe just look at the camera while they're doing whatever they do. And she posts it saying, "We're working on something, guys." We're working on it. And of course, she's going to be in charge of the clothing for the group. She's going to style them. She's going to be their stylist because very obviously they cannot afford anyone else to do it. And lucky for them, Rarity has a great fashion taste. She's going to make sure that everyone looks cohesive on stage no matter what. If it is the day that she dies, she's going to make sure that they're at her funeral dressed and ready, okay? And I'm going to talk about this a little bit more for the other characters because they have a lot more simple design. But I want everyone else, not everyone else, but specifically Twilight and Rainbow Dash to kind of be more comfortable in being dramatic or expressing themselves through their clothing and kind of start experimenting with their styles. But for now, they're just, they're just wearing whatever they have in their closet, pretty much. All right, Twilight. So as you can see, very, very simple. Also, I lost so much footage of me drawing her. So I literally only have one clip that I've decided to kind of speed down less than the others. So bear with it. But she is a law student in this. I was originally struggling on what I thought Spike's role should be, but I've ultimately decided Twilight's low-key really chronically online. And I wanted Spike to be kind of this online friend that she's had since she was little. Maybe he's not gonna make a visual appearance. I don't know what to do for him. If you guys have any ideas, please let me know. I don't know if I want even to make him human, but for now, he's an online friend that always is on her phone. She's constantly texting him, like, freaking out about certain stuff. And I can also imagine that she doesn't have very many friends. People who are law students very usually have a lot of work to do or are so focused on their work that they become competitive with their own classmates. So I imagine that's kind of how she is. But guys, she's struggling. She is a former gifted kid, now burnt out, broke college student. She originally was able to afford college because she was on so many scholarships, but she recently lost it because she's on academic probation because she's failing her classes a little bit. She's struggling, guys, but she's trying to maintain afloat, which then motivates her to want to look for jobs. And she struggles to find a job for a bit. So she's like looking for internships. Then she looks for kind of office jobs. And then she gives up. She's like, fuck it, bro. I just need money. And she is like looking on whatever she can find. In the middle of the night, she's working tirelessly to find anything that would pay her at all. Just at all. And then she finds the bakery. I should probably also talk about what their roles in the bakery are. I want it so that Twilight is kind of working at the front as a register. Rarity is kind of working alongside her. And Rainbow Dash is more working in the back in the kitchen where Pinkie Pie usually is. She's usually helping out there. As for her role in the band, I've decided to make her a bassist. I feel like that's pretty fitting. Bass is a very chill instrument, but it's also kind of the backbone of a lot of songs. It's like the hidden soldier, and I feel like that's what she would be as a person and as a musician, just kind of carrying the song through the bass line, but in a chill way, guys, in a low-key way, in a nonchalant type of manner. She's doing that. She's carrying everything on her back. But she's the only bassist. I've decided there's only going to be one bassist. Originally, I was struggling on whether there should be 2 bassists and 2 guitarists, but I feel like that's a little bit too much. It's kind of hard when there's 6 members. You don't usually see 6 members of a band. So I was trying to figure that aspect out. She is also kind of a person who it takes her a bit to acclimate to being around this group of people. Everyone else gets used to it just immediately. They're like, okay, this is my new group of friends. And they start being very buddy-buddy. They see Twilight as a friend just then and there. Twilight, though, is not as used to it, so it doesn't set in until like the 3rd or 4th like practice that they have, where they're kind of just jamming out together, for her to finally realize, oh shit, I have like friends now. She kind of looks around and she's like, oh wait, I kind of know ball. Oh, also their ethnicities, guys. I have always, since I was little, saw Twilight as Dominican, so she is in fact Dominican, and you will see her in the baseball jersey coming up soon. So I made her Dominican, I made Rarity Korean, which I feel like is just a consensus with a lot of people in the fandom, and I made Rainbow Dash white. And oh, speak of the devil, here's Rainbow Dash. Rainbow Dash, Rainbow Dash, Rainbow Dash. I feel like my design for her is going to be a little bit controversial. I made her blonde. Because, again, like I said earlier when I was talking about Rarity, I want them to kind of grow into their styles. I want to have them like visually grow into themselves and be more comfortable expressing themselves through their clothing. I also just think that it would be fun to see maybe Fluttershy kind of help her out with dyeing her hair and it ending up kind of terribly, and then her having to go and get it fixed up at like an actual salon. It'd just be cute. It would be cute. It would be a cute sight to see. You'll also see here in a second, I put her in a tracksuit. I put her in like an Adidas tracksuit, bro. Just because I think it's funny. I have seen someone in like a TikTok comment before being like, oh yeah, Rainbow Dash would wear an Adidas tracksuit. Adidas. I say Adidas. I don't know why I've been saying Adidas today, but that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about who she is. She is not broke exactly. She just needs money for like running shoes and stuff. I made her a business major. Yeah, she's a business major, and she's kind of not really focused on that. She's more focused on sports. She's on a sport scholarship, which covers her schooling but doesn't cover things like Thunderbolts merch or sneakers, stuff like that. Things that she would need to play her sport well. Like I said, in the bakery, she works in the back with Pinkie Pie. They don't really get along too well. They're not like best friends or anything by any means. But Pinkie Pie is way too nice to not be friends with. So, you know, they worked it out. They are casual friends who mostly talk during work. And that's how all of the characters are going to be for the most part. I want them to be work friends until they start becoming closer. All right, let's talk about Rainbow Dash's role in the band. She is the drummer. For the movies or for Rainbow Rocks, she was not the drummer. She was, I think, a guitarist or a bassist. I know that Pinkie Pie was the drummer, which in theory, I guess, would make sense because Pinkie Pie is very like high energy. So you think, oh, put two and two together, drummer. But I feel like Pinkie Pie would be better as like a rhythm guitarist or something like that, and to be able to kind of like dance around while she's playing her instrument, whereas like drumming is more controlled, like you have to sit down and like really show off your skill, which is where I think Rainbow Dash would be a better drummer. Also, she just fits like drummer vibes. I don't know what it is, like she just gives drummer. Also, the tracksuit really doesn't help. The tracksuit is very drummer-esque, I guess. She looks like she would be part of a nu metal band and be a drummer. I also feel like drumming just really allows her to be in her element. It's really, you can improv a lot on the drums, even though for the most part it's very controlled. She's gonna be able to have a lot of space, especially in nu metal. I feel like in a lot of rock or metal, there's a lot more room for improvisation and like playing around with the beat and like just really making everything her own. I do want them to start off as like a cover band where they're just covering songs that they like, and then eventually transition into working on their own stuff. So I imagine that while they're covering songs by like Kitty or Flyleaf, I don't know, Rainbow Dash would definitely be the type to kind of add her own fun spin on it. All right, and this is them in a lineup next to each other, guys. All done, all finished. This one is kind of boring, guys. I really like how Rarity came out, but I'm already working on, you know, Pinkie Pie, Applejack, and Fluttershy, and I'm very excited for you guys to see those. These are kind of mandatory, though. I'm kind of hating right now because, you know, Twilight and Rainbow Dash are kind of basic bitches, but they're great, guys, and there's a reason why they look the way that they do. I originally wanted to do this whole elaborate video where I also drew them in different poses and like different scenarios, but guys, I have 2 jobs and I go to school, so I'm a little busy, a little busier than a lot of other YouTubers who do have the time for that. That's not to say that it isn't happening though. I'm definitely going to draw them just constantly. So you will be seeing more of them soon, and you'll see them in more rendered, more elaborate, more detailed stuff pretty darn soon, guys. Pretty darn soon. Keep an eye out for that. This was just a pretty calm video that you can kind of play in the background. Just yeah, I don't have an outro. I have to figure something out, but bye.